It would be truly sad if this photo only remained a memory or was tucked away in a small corner of Manchester United fans' minds. It was once a symbol of the club's new golden generation in the eyes of many. All three names in that image are still at Manchester United, but two of them seem likely to leave this summer. The most painful name to mention is Rasmus Højlund. Just look at this moment. Højlund kicks the post in frustration. The reason is simple. When there was a chance, Mainoo didn't pass but chose to shoot. Perhaps Mainoo has already lost some faith in Højlund. Manchester United are now listing Højlund for sale. And just like that, his future has shifted from uncertain to painfully clear. Manchester United are offering Rasmus Højlund for just £30 million, a figure that shocked observers. Especially when compared to the £72 million fee paid just 2 years ago. This move clearly shows that United are willing to take a heavy loss to pave the way for Benjamin Sesko, their number one transfer target for the remainder of the window. Unlike past half-hearted sale rumours, this time Manchester United are serious about selling Højlund. BBC Sport confirmed that £30 million is the official asking price for potential buyers. Manchester Evening News even pointed out that this number is £8 million less than his current book value if sold this season. This means the loss is not just financial but also strategic. The reason is plain to see. In the 2024-25 season, Højlund scored only 4 goals in 32 Premier League matches, and coach Erik ten Hag ran out of patience. Despite the Danish striker's professionalism and effort, the arrivals of Matheus Cunha, Bryan Mbeumo, and the possible signing of Sesko mean there's little reason to keep Højlund, especially when United urgently need to raise funds to meet PSA financial fair play rules before the deadline. Even Inter Milan, a club that had inquired about Højlund earlier in the summer, gave up after signing Jonathan David. Not many clubs are willing to pay for a striker with inconsistent form and high wages. Which is why dropping the price to £30 million is a clear effort to clear stock. Still, in this context, Højlund has not given up. In a recent friendly against Bournemouth, he scored twice and shared a beaming celebration on his Instagram. In the post-match interview, Højlund said, "I'm still very young, only 22, I know I'm not Haaland, but I'm learning and improving. I'll keep fighting for my place at United." Højlund's attitude is a huge plus. He doesn't complain, doesn't sulk, doesn't drop vague hints about leaving like Garnacho or Sancho. But that doesn't change the fact that he's now on the transfer list, showing once again that under the new United regime led by Ruben Amorim, there will be no leniency for players inherited from the previous era, even those signed for big fees. Clearly, Højlund is a victim of both overestimated potential and a system that failed to suit his strengths. He's not a complete striker. His hold-up play, positioning, and link-up are far behind the top 6 standard. Under Ten Hag, he was given time. Under Amorim, pressing, linking, and intelligent movement are priorities. Højlund is no longer part of the main plan, and with Sesko now in the picture, things are even clearer. United are ready to start fresh with a new striker project, one who has the same age, better tactical potential, physicality, speed, and pressing ability. Højlund's future is no longer at Old Trafford. But is any club really ready to spend £30 million on an unfinished project? And if there are no takers, how will United handle the situation? These are tough questions for both Højlund and those who placed complete faith in him 2 years ago. Garnacho has no way back to Manchester United, and in reality, that door had already slammed shut before Ruben Amorim began offering what seemed like kind words. The Argentine winger is now part of the bomb squad, the group of players removed from the first team. Not allowed on the US tour, not training with the full squad, and awaiting departure. Alongside Garnacho are Sancho, Antony, and Facundo Pellistri, names once considered key players under Ten Hag, now cast aside by Amorim. What's notable is how differently Ruben Amorim handled the situation before and after the summer break. At the end of last season, after the Europa League final loss, he publicly criticised Garnacho's reaction to being benched. Back then, Amorim bluntly said, he should pray to find a new club. A statement that slammed the door shut, almost confirming the end of their relationship. But when asked again during the US tour, Amorim's tone changed significantly. This time, he said, "Garnacho is a very talented player. Sometimes things don't go as expected. There are moments when you feel like you need a different leader, a different path, and I understand that." A seemingly empathetic way to protect both sides' dignity, especially now that the club is negotiating a transfer with Chelsea. The truth doesn't require Amorim to spell it out. Anyone following the situation can clearly see Garnacho is no longer in the plans, not for the locker room, not for training, and certainly not for United's future. Chelsea's interest is unsurprising. They've been monitoring the situation since early July and were just waiting for United to lower the price. As for Garnacho, the decision is no longer about should or shouldn't. but a necessity. He already turned down Napoli, rejected a Saudi club, and wasn't keen on Aston Villa, because what he wants is to stay in the Premier League, play Champions League football, and get regular minutes. Chelsea currently tick all three boxes. The issue isn't Garnacho's ability. Everyone knows he has pace, dribbling skills, and has made big plays in important matches. But under Ruben Amorim, everything becomes a system problem. Garnacho doesn't press aggressively enough, lacks off-ball connections, and hasn't adapted to the Portuguese coach's highly disciplined tactical setup. From being a star of the future, Garnacho is now a surplus case, to be offloaded quickly to free up wages and squad space. If Chelsea close this deal, it would be a decisive move from all sides. United solve a lingering issue. Chelsea gain a fast left-sided option in light of Mudryk's suspension and Madueke's departure. And Garnacho escapes a system that no longer suits him. Like it or not, Manchester United no longer has space for players who don't fit Amorim's mould. Mainu is now the last remaining member of what was once hailed as United's homegrown future. But even he is walking a fine line between being trusted and merely tested. At a time when Garnacho is set to leave, Sancho and Antony have been discarded, and Rashford is out on loan. Mainu is still at the club, but the question is, in what role will he stay? Will he still be a core part of Amorim's plans or just a squad rotation option? Last season, when United's attack struggled against low blocks, Mainu was pushed forward to play as a left-sided 0.10. His dribbling, technical ability, and tight space control were fully utilised. He could glide out of pressure inside the box like a new-age Paulo Dybala. Not to finish, but to create space. But that was more of a stopgap role than a long-term identity. Moving into 2025-26, Amorim has a different idea. United are shifting to a 3-4-2-1. And the plan is to use Mainu as a left-sided number 8 alongside Bruno Fernandes in the midfield axis. In this formation, both midfielders must distribute well, control tempo, and escape pressure. On paper, Mainu can handle that, but in recent friendlies, the one partnering Bruno has been Bruno himself, putting Mainu in an awkward position. If he plays deeper, he's not the first choice. If he plays higher, he's behind more dangerous and experienced players like Mason Mount and Amad Diallo. While still highly rated for his potential, Mainu currently doesn't hold a guaranteed spot in any specific role. Amorim isn't rushing to discard Mainu, but clearly no longer sees him as untouchable. Everything points to United slowly shifting Mainu into a Plan B role. He's being kept not because he's locked in, but because he's still useful while the squad is incomplete. He's just young enough to accept experimentation, but just famous enough to make coaches think twice. Mainu's future now depends on two things: how quickly he adapts to the number 8 role, and whether United sign another midfielder. If someone like João Neves or Amadou Onana arrives, even a bench spot might no longer be available for Mainu. Versatility is no longer a guaranteed asset. It's a double-edged sword that leaves Mainu without a clear, defined role to claim as his own. Manchester United still have many young players, from Kobbie Mainu and Amad Diallo to Aidan Healy, Ethan Wheatley, and Omari Forson. But what's happening to Højlund and Garnacho is the clearest warning. Talent alone is not enough. Without a clear direction, a suitable system, and sustained belief from both coach and club structure, any young player, no matter how promising, can be quickly discarded, even if they were once seen as the future. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.